I'm just testing out this 350Z. Of course it has check engine on, and when we floor it, I think you can see from the window there is smoke coming out from the tailpipe. I believe you guys can see right there. The puffs of smoke that are coming out from the tailpipe. So I will be diagnosing the car and see what we can do about the results of the diagnose and see what we can actually do. So stay tuned. Well, it's raining, folks, but I have to test out at least the compression and see how it's looking. So right now I'm going to hook up the battery, start it up. I want to see if any smoke would come out, which probably will come, so that I can also show you that. So I'm gonna place the phone on jack stand. I mean, not jack stand, on phone stand, do a time lapse while I start up the car. So I had to call the day because it started raining worse and worse and worse. Yeah, so we have to wait until the rain is gone.
3 days later.
Yeah, folks, I believe that you guys saw the exhaust fumes are coming out, and what I'm going to do now is just to let the engine warm enough so that I can proceed with the compression tests and see how the images, I mean the figures, are coming out from this engine. So now we do have the engine on running on the operating temp. So what we are going to do is to test the compression on each cylinder. As you can see, the difference should be not greater than 14 psi and the minimum 142 psi, and the ideal compression in each cylinder should be 185. So I'm going to do both tests, dry and wet, and see how the figures are looking out. So now that the engine is at operating temp, we'll need to remove this intake pipe right there, because it's from this side I think we have enough visibility. We need to remove the fuel pump fuse, which is located just over there on that black cover. So we just removed the intake, and you guys can see how clean it was. So at least we're not having issues with the circulations. I was just checking what they were trying to do here. Oh my, this is the pipe that connects here on the intake pipes that we managed to remove, and this was broken, so probably that's why it was misfiring on the cold start that we did. So as you can see, at least now we have access to the spark, to the yeah. So managed to remove the coil packs from this bank, and now I'm just removing the fuse for the fuel pump, which is this first one right here on the top, which it was supposed to be a 15 amp fuse, but as you can see it has 10. So time to remove this one, and we will need to remove one spark plug and we should be ready to start our testing. So we just took out the first spark plug, and man, you guys can see that this thing is covered out of oil. So now for spark plug and man into the first cylinder so that we can see the figures. Okay, so we have the result for the first cylinder, which is showing us 1100 kPa. Then I will convert to PSI.
Many adorable hours later.
So now that I'm done with the compression tests, what I want to do now is to actually use my boroscope and see how the cylinder walls are looking inside, so before we jump into the conclusions. So at that point I was just using my boroscope, and it's funny how this cylinder has a small stroke. This was a TDC. I was trying to look into the walls, and I was able to see that they were not that bad. Of course, a little bit of carbon buildup on top of the pistons due to the oil that was burning inside. I also did actually check the bottom of the valves, as you guys can see, and you guys can see a lot of carbon buildup coming up from the head. So definitely my assumption was that the oil, the valve steams were actually toast, and that was probably the main issue with this motor.
Much later.
Good news, folks. So we managed to finish up our results, and as I told you initially, we were looking at least to see if we actually were reaching the minimum amount of pressure inside the cylinder, which was 142 psi. As you can see right here on the left table, I have the testing results. You can see that across all cylinders, the difference that I was having on adjacent cylinders was 4 and 7 psi on each bank, and 0 and 0. So this means at least the engine is healthy. And you guys can see the results for each individual cylinder. You can see we had 160, 160, 160, 167, 156, and 167. So 156 was the minimum amount, but comparing through the adjacent cylinders, we didn't reach the minimum amount. Even if it was to actually choose the higher number and do the difference between the lower number, we're still within the specs. So with this, I would say that the numbers they actually got lower due to the valve steam seals, which are bad. So with this, I will conclude, and based it on the test that I also did with the boroscope in order to check the cylinder head, I can conclude that the issue with this engine is related to the valve steam seals, because I was also able to see how clogged in oil the valves were, which means that actually the oil was coming from the top to the bottom, with this burning all the existing oil that we have on the engine. So yeah, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So basically we managed to at least know, one, that the engine is healthy, two, actually find the source of the issue, which are the valve stem seals. So with this, I believe that you guys heard when we start up the engine, there was a lot of rattle. So it means that the timing chain also it's bad. And during the process of replacing the valve seals, as we need to remove the camshafts, we will be able also to replace the timing chain and probably the oil pump, since it's a good opportunity at that time to replace all those items, because we will have easy access to them. So stay tuned, guys, on the development of this issue, where I will be probably next start working on the vehicle and see that we can fix that issue. Please do not forget to leave your comment, your like, and see you around. Cheers.